Hello and welcome to the 23rd Annual Arpa International Film Festival Q&A portion. Today I am joined by actress, writer, and director Stella Villan, as well as actor Alan Smyth. We will be discussing their short film, The Critic, which will be streaming via Seed and Spark during our festival. So if we could first just start off with you guys introducing yourselves, where you're from, and just a little bit about your film.
Okay, I'll start. Hi, I'm Stella Villan. I am the actress, writer, and director of The Critic. I'm currently actually in Paris, and The Critic is, sorry about that, The Critic is a short psychological drama, and Alan Smyth stars in it as the male lead, so I will let him speak.
Hi, my name is Alan Smyth. I'm from Ireland, but I currently live in Los Angeles. I have done for 13 years. And I play, arguably, depending on your point of view, I maybe play the critic in The Critic or not. That's all I can say.
Awesome.
That's good.
Do you guys want to give something like a really short log line about your film without giving too much away, just so we can preface it?
Alan, do you want to do it, or do I do it?
You do. I think you should do all of it.
Oh no. That's why I have you here. So yeah, The Critic is basically it's the artist with their own worst critic. It's the story of the logline is a starry-eyed actress with a troubled past faces her harshest critic during an interview gone terribly wrong.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, when I first watched it, I was like, wow, this guy's really rude. And then started getting into it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's, I gotcha. A little more psychological and very, very intriguing.
Yeah.
So what was your inspiration for The Critic?
So for me, The Critic is, it's something that I think I've been wanting to do for a long time. You know, it's a very, it's kind of a very universal concept. It's the artist with their own worst critic, but it's also, you know, it's about the struggle with imposter syndrome that anybody, not only artists, can identify with. And I really wanted to do this. And it's something that it's been, you know, like it's been me for a long time, and it just started taking shape when I started writing the script. And I started talking about it, and then, you know, it just happened. So
Awesome. Yeah, and you kind of said a lot of people can identify with it, not just artists, you know, like everybody. And I really saw that when I was watching. I'm like, you know, this can apply to a lot of different people, and that's why probably a lot of people connect with it really well. What did you guys? What was your biggest challenge while making this film?
I want to let Alan speak a little bit.
Sure. I mean, I guess. Personally, my biggest challenge is just sort of, again, if you haven't seen the film, I don't necessarily want to.
They've seen it. They've seen it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, I guess a big part of it was when you know that you're in silhouette the whole time, and so you really have a silhouette expression only, and you have a vocal expression only within that, outside of all the things that Stella was doing in terms of how she was shooting it and sort of coming in close and amping up the intensity of it. As an actor, the challenge was how do we sort of ground this? How do we make this clear? And I mean, obviously, like you're saying, he's more than a little rude, but it's also like trying to find nuance within that without being seen, essentially. And so that was a really fun thing to try and navigate, I guess.
Yeah, you had a lot of character. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please.
No, when I was watching it, you just had so much character. Like you said, it's really difficult with just the voice, but you really pulled it off, and you could really tell that there was a complex character behind there, which, you know, if you really think about it, is probably her. And it was really, really well done with just the voice and the silhouette.
That's awesome. Thank you. Well, I mean, obviously, like sort of playing opposite Stella, it's sort of like the more from my point of view, the more vulnerable she was getting at times. That amps up my thing. That only encourages, you know, the inner sociopath, psychopath, whatever we want to call it. So the more that it seemed effective to her character, only sort of emboldened mine, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
I have to say that Alan did a fantastic job. And for me, just real quick, I know we don't have a lot of time, but just real quick, it was very, very important for me to have a very good actor. Like, you know, like I'm a first-time director, and
oh wow, okay.
You know, the part wasn't an easy one for anybody to take on. And I was, you know, for me, one of the biggest challenges was assembling the right team, but also it's not an easy part to take on, and not everybody is going to be willing to do it. And, you know, like Alan is, you know, he's an amazing actor, and I was incredibly fortunate to have him. And when he said yes, and he was actually very excited about the script, which was what also like motivated me a lot, because it's very, very important to work with people who are excited and enthusiastic about your project, as opposed to just, you know, whatever.
Exactly. They've got to match your energy if you're going to have anything good out of it. And you guys made an amazing team. So
cool. Thank you. We had a good time.
That
was fun.
Alrighty, on to the next question. What did you guys learn while making The Critic? I'm sure there are a few things.
I can talk a lot. Well, as a first-time director, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about not letting other people, you know, not letting other people step on your toes too much, you know. But also, I learned a lot about production because I'm more of an artist, and so I've never been very, like, you know, not very interested in the business side of things. And it's actually incredibly valuable as an experience. For me, it was very, very enriching, and you learn so much. And also, it helps you to learn, you know, to not take some things personally. You know, just understanding the process on the other side was incredibly valuable. And just, you know, just making my first film was a great learning experience in every step of the way. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome.
What about you, Alan?
For me, basically, I think my takeaway was just be nicer to yourself, be kinder to yourself. That sort of, we can be so terribly mean and so disabling to ourselves and to our ambition or to our dreams. And I feel like each day we worked on this, we rehearsed a little bit, and each day we shot it. I remember leaving kind of going, wow, just like be grateful, but also don't be so unkind to yourself. Don't be so critical, because it can really, obviously this film gets into the extreme of that, but you can really mess things up for yourself.
No, that's super true. Very, very true. And Stella, you were saying first time director. I just, as a viewer, I would have never guessed that you were a first time director. So great job. What would you say The Critic says about the world we live in today?
So I intended The Critic to be very kind of like a universal, very, I mean, it says a lot, you know. I've incorporated a lot of different, of course it does. No, but I really wanted to send a message with the film, but I also, the concept behind The Critic was, I wanted it to be very open to interpretation, while at the same time weaving in elements of what's going on in the industry and what's, you know, some current issues, like, you know, I touched on the Time's Up and the Me Too in passing, also the, you know, issues with on the topics of drug abuse and addiction, on what is an actor's job, and how that, you know, the line between reality and fiction can get very blurry at times, and how, sometimes your mind can get messed up, and also about, how when you when you suddenly you're thrown into the public eye, you become this target to criticism, and if you don't have a good, like a solid relationship with your inner self, it can get, yeah.
Yeah.
It can go places where the critic goes. So but I also wanted it to be kind of like a very universal message, as in like how important it is to be, the relationship we have with ourselves, and how we need to, it's almost like an exorcism kind of sort of thing, like a healing process, and how it's very, very important to, the psychology, how important the psychological aspect of every human being is, and how we talk to ourselves can lead to, potentially like disastrous, end.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
some. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I think that's even extremely relevant today, with social media and all that, and that relationship that we create with ourselves while we post. There's so much traffic going on that I mean, this, what you're saying, these themes are really universal, but they're very relevant today to things that, like I'm a teenager, and there's so many things that you can post and not post, and what do I do, and who's following me, and that relationship with yourself is getting more complicated every day. So it's very relevant film, and I think it's something we should all watch and really reflect on, and say, what is that relationship we have with ourselves right now, and really reflect on that and say, is it healthy? Is it not healthy? Maybe we should make some changes. But no, this is a great film to really make us reflect. So
yeah,
awesome.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, like, and
please go ahead.
When is enough?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like, well, I'll get to this part and then I'll rein things in. But then it's that addiction of, whether it's the dopamine hit you get from the likes on your Instagram, or whether it's getting awards for your work. It's just like, I mean, it takes, and it also takes a great strength of character to be able to find those boundaries for yourself. And I think that this film really is a cautionary tale about all of that.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Stella, sorry, what were you going to say?
I'm forgetting.
Oh, you're good.
Oh no, you were talking about, in the age of Instagram and all that. Yeah, absolutely. And that's all. Those pressures that we all feel to look a certain way, to do some things. That is very much like, what the film treats, as a subject. Those pressures that, like a celebrity comes with, like a lot of, you have to look a certain way, but it's not only about that, every teenager feels that way today, because our lives are exposed, on Instagram and all that. So it's incredibly important to know how to find that, that good place.
Gotcha. All right. Well, where can people learn more about this fantastic film of yours?
Come again?
Where can people find out more? Like, there's their website, Instagram. Now we're just talking on Instagram, but
right. Yeah. So yeah, you can visit the film's website. It's thecriticfilm.com. You can also visit the production company's website. It's punkfloydco.com/the-critic. And you can actually, we are already on Amazon Prime, and in the US and the UK, and on the UK Film Channel as well. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that.
Well, you might have to bleep that part out.
No, nobody heard it, Stella. It's okay.
No, nobody. Oh, that's awesome. No, congratulations, you guys.
Because we actually won a festival that was held by Amazon Studios on Amazon Prime Video.
Congratulations! That's amazing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
What would you say? What films have been the most inspiring or influential to you, and why?
Specifically about the Critic,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
in
Specifically this
general?
short film, or in general,
Okay.
whichever's easier.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm curious. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Like, do you have any ideas of what was my influence in creating that film?
I mean, I specifically, I couldn't pick a movie, but I think what is really unique about this film, or one of the things that's unique about this film, is that it feels like a European film to me. And we are both European, Stella and I. So like, but it feels more in that sort of. I'm not even talking about an Irish or a British movie, but it feels very French or Italian. It has a sensibility, and it's shot in a way that is, I feel, heavily influenced by whether it's Godard or whoever, like I think there's that style, and that, I mean, that's in your bones, so I feel like that's obviously, it feels to me like that's what informed a lot of your work on this. And that's just me sort of as a viewer looking at it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that, like for this particular film, I think my biggest influence was, I would say, without me consciously like realizing it, I would say is Christopher Nolan's Inception, also Aronofsky's Black Swan, Bergman's Persona, Ingmar Bergman's Persona. If you guys have seen it, so it's a classic. And yeah, it's all about that psychological aspect.
I was almost also going to say A Beautiful Mind as well. There's some psychological aspects, not the same thing, but like you said, I was going to say Inception, kind of crazy psychological stuff as well.
Right.
Awesome. Was there a particular event or time that you recognized that filmmaking was more than a hobby? I know you said your first directing project, but was there the time where you're like, oh, this is what I want to do, or, look into more?
For me, well, I started out as an actor. I've been writing for some time. I know Alan writes as well. And I just very naturally evolved into the filmmaking thing. But no, for me, I've always been, like I've always loved everything, seventh art, everything film, and I just, I was an actor, and then I started writing, and then now I'm directing. And so it's all that stuff, like it gives me a totally different satisfaction in a way, but I like all the creative aspects of the filmmaking process. So for me, a specific time, no, it just like it naturally happened, like not a specific time. I've always been, in love with that process. So what about you, Alan?
I mean, it's always been there for me since very, very young, but I think more of a sort of fantasy sort of element of like watching movies as a kid and wanting to be on the other side of it, like wanting to be in it, like sort of being really sort of carried away by that. And I suppose as you get older, that develops into wouldn't it be great to maybe be able to be a part of something that has that effect on people, or where you actually do get to live inside of the fantasy, and you do get to create those worlds. So it's always like really from, I'd say, 7 or 8 years old for me. Wow. It's been there. Yeah, certainly. And it continues. It can, like that. It's so funny. For a particular reason, I looked into the notion of a vocation, vocational occupations, about 15 years ago. And traditionally, there were 5. Now there's only 4. The one that's no longer, so there's vocation. So there's like medicine, there's like the cleric, like the priesthood or the sisterhood, and law, education, and then the theater. The theater was the 5th one, like going back to the 15th century, the 16th century, people talked about it because the idea being is that it could be a life of real hardship for you. Why the hell would you do it? But because it is somehow in your DNA, it's in your makeup. To gravitate towards that. So whether it's acting, whether it's directing, whether it's writing, we sort of have just an urge, a desire to be a part of a story in whatever way we can, I think.
No, that's amazing. No, that's awesome. Yeah, you're definitely gravitating towards the theater with those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any upcoming films that you can tell us about or presently working on by chance?
I
Stella?
can start. Okay. I am currently. I'm actually in Paris doing some location scouting and working on a pilot that I wrote, and it's a comedy. It has actually nothing to do with the critic. It's a
That's
comedy.
good, you know.
It's a very light, very like nothing to do. I know it's very counterintuitive, but yeah. So I'm doing that. That's pretty like that's fully developed, and just working on that. And I actually, a lot of people have been asking about the feature version of the critic. So I do have a treatment,
Ooh.
that is kind of like, ready to go. So yeah, whatever comes first.
Oh, awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool.
And I'm a part of a movie called Under My Skin, which is getting its world premiere at I believe it's called the Rainmaker Festival in London next month. I think on the 29th of October. I think it's an absolutely beautiful story. It's a feature, and it's a very story for now. It's a very important story for now, and it was a very exciting script to be a part of. So I've got that. I have a couple of little things in the fire, but I work away at doing. I record audiobooks also for like
awesome.
Audible and stuff like that. So I do a bunch of
Terrific
that.
voice.
Right, there you go. Yeah. But yeah, Under My Skin is the movie that is the next thing that I have. So that's gonna come out.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on this Q&A, Stella and Alan. It's been amazing. And we'll see you guys all next time, hopefully for another Q&A down the line. But yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nicholas. Very nice to meet you. Thank you.